looking at anything as a strict binary, I feel like is such a danger and a detriment to any growth.
If we're only allowing ourselves to be at either side of the spectrum, we're only allowing ourselves to embody a very limited, tiny part of the experience of being a human.
Hello.
Hey there.
Long time no chat.
Long time no chat.
How's it going?
It's going. It's good. I'm feeling good energy. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling energized.
And go ahead.
Sorry, and I also felt a little tiredness.
I was literally about to say we had an early morning this morning.
Yeah.
We were up a little early.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this one, this may or may not be the second one that we've recorded today. You don't know.
You don't
It's
know.
just a little.
It's just the behind the scenes magic happening.
Are you typically a morning person or a night person?
Such a night owl.
I know.
I like my nighttime. I say that my prime time is between like 9:30 and 12:30 at night. Oof.
That's a nice little chunk.
Beautiful hours.
Yeah, I'm a morning girl. I love being up like with the birds and the sun. This time of year is a little weird because the sun comes up so early. The birds start so early.
Oof.
And I, as an allergy sufferer, I do typically start sneezing the moment that I wake up.
Oh no.
So it's like a double-edged sword where I'm like, I want to be up with the sun and the birds and also it's terrible. Oh my gosh.
Wait, this is a silly question, but like, do you still sneeze as much like at nighttime?
No. It's right when I wake up.
Huh.
It's right when I wake up. I mean, you heard me yesterday. I was sneezing a good amount yesterday, but it's mostly when I go into a new environment. Like I noticed your bathroom makes me sneeze a lot.
Interesting.
I don't know why. It might be the fan. Like maybe it's the particles in the air. Like maybe I'm a sensitive little being.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it is what it is. I love the morning though. I love when the sun's just up. Like spring and like fall mornings are the best when like the sun's coming up at a reasonable hour, right around like 6:30, 7 o'clock. Because I like to be up around like 6:37. You're like,
only if I'm like trying to get to the airport. But isn't it funny? I think that sometimes people are like so hardcore about being morning people or so hardcore about being night owls. It's like so hard for us as human to be like, it's okay, like
it's okay to flow.
It's okay to flow. We can be in the middle. It's like, no,
you must
it's
be
wrong and stupid to wake up so early in the morning and I'll die on that hill because I'm a night owl.
Oh my gosh, or the morning people who are like, if you are not up at 5 a.m. taking a cold shower, going for a run, then you are not maximizing your potential. And I'm like, or I like myself. Or how perhaps my body hates that.
I know. No, you're like describing my nightmare.
Terrible. No, I wouldn't do that. No, see, the reason I like to get up early is because that is the time Austin leaves the house and then I'm by myself. Ooh. The sun is just coming up. It's just me, the cat, and the birds. The coffee's on. My yoga happening. Sun rising. Everything quiet. I get to just like drop in and just like be. That's usually actually when I like film most of my TikTok content.
Ooh.
It's like right after I do my yoga, right when I'm like just woken up, things are fresh and flowing. Isn't there science behind that? Like right when you wake up, there's like your brain is still in, is it theta waves? I don't know the science, but there's like something about like when you wake up, like there's something going on with your brain waves where you're more, I don't know. I didn't research that. I feel like I just recently heard that. I'm like, oh my god, that makes so much sense.
I have no idea.
Me neither.
But if that's the case, good for you.
Hey, thanks. Oh my gosh. Well, that actually is a perfect lead into this episode's topic about polarity and
Yeah.
opposites and how everything's on a spectrum
Mm.
and how even when you're like very aligned with someone, like you still could be on totally different spectrums of something, and that's part
Yes.
of nature and the human experience.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite thing to say lately. It's like everything's on a spectrum.
Yes, because it is.
It is.
Oh my goodness. I feel so many of us were raised with this black and white thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the most what we've been talking about, like the most notable way that it shows up for us is like in and not just us, but I feel like in society right now, especially politically and things going on, it's like
Mm-hmm.
there's this big thing of like man and woman. Those are the two options and there is no in between. And I'm like, let's
Mm.
roll it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't even know where to go. I'm like, oof.
I know.
Size and existential dread.
Size and existential dread indeed. I feel like it's so looking at anything as a strict binary, I feel like is such a danger and a detriment to any growth, any development. Like if things are one way or the other, there's
Yes.
no options, there's no room to explore.
Right.
And I feel like being human is exploring and
Yes.
is testing waters and experimenting and
Mm-hmm.
finding what kind of expression works best for you. Like
Yes.
there's no creativity that can be accessed if you only have two options.
Right.
Like,
And also, it's so interesting how biologically and evolutionary, or like from an evolutionary perspective,
mhm.
our bodies and our minds do love that rigidity
They do.
of like
Yes.
yes and no, good or bad, safe
Mhm.
or unsafe.
Mhm.
Do I need to run away right now, or do I need to fight, or do I need to stay? It's just,
Yes.
like at the end of the day, that categorization and being
Mhm.
able to put people or experiences in
Mhm.
neatly packaged boxes
Mhm.
soothe our brain
Yeah. It
really
does.
nicely. So it's like, oof, okay, that person's bad. Now I know not to be close to them. Or
Mhm.
that person's good. Now I know I can trust them.
Mhm.
And that's a lot easier than sitting with the nuance of
Yes.
taking in the full context of
Mhm.
everything. It takes a lot more mental effort that we
Mhm.
should all be doing,
Mhm.
but it's not the easiest.
It is not easy. And I think that's why we're seeing such a resistance to it.
Yeah.
Something I've been thinking about a lot too is if say you are raised with that like rigidity, black and white thinking, like I was raised evangelical Christianity, like very yes and no, good and evil, black and white, like the end. There was one way to go and the other way was hell. That was it.
Hmm.
And so if you start exploring that kind of spectrum of nuance, then you have to start challenging your own belief system. You have to challenge your own, like, you have to be willing to be wrong or willing to think differently. And a lot of times, belief systems and different ways that we decide to think about and interact with the world, we've it becomes a personal experience. Like, and it obviously it's a personal, but I mean, it ties more into your own perspective of who you are and your own worthiness.
Hmm.
And if you don't have that strict categorization, if things don't fit into those boxes, like you said, it feels unsafe.
Yeah.
And some people aren't either willing or able in the moment to take on that level of like, ooh, I'm uncomfortable. Am I unsafe? Like, can I still be me in like and bring in this kind of nuance in this reality? So I
Yes.
definitely want to hold space for the fact that it requires a level of personal growth and personal like self-trust
Yeah.
for sure.
Definitely embodiment.
Yes, absolutely. You have to be even the concept of being embodied or like exploring embodiment, you have to be willing to be like anger is not always dangerous.
Hmm. Yeah.
Joy is not always safe.
Right. Oh, which
Which
like,
is like, whoo.
yeah, and you bringing up even the like polarity of how we think about emotions.
Yes.
And like joy, good, anger,
Bad.
bad. And that is such a dangerous mindset because anger can actually be really good. Anger can be important. Anger can be helpful information.
Yes.
To actually like help us feel safe in a situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or understand, like, why is that making me angry? Why does that activate me? Like, what's underneath that? Like,
right.
What do I value that's being violated by, and like getting me like frustrated about the situation?
Exactly.
And I feel like a lot of times that categorization of good and bad, black and white, etc., it makes us categorize things that, and like put things together that are like, oh, so that is that all the time, always, and that's that. It's like, no, but it's not. And then I think even as women, or as people who experience the world through that kind of more feminine lens, or if you're born with a womb, or if you're born kind of experiencing that as a person, because just because it's between your legs doesn't make you who you are. But in this world, we're told that it does. So like penis, you're going to be a boy and you're going to experience masculine things. If you are born with a vagina, you are a girl and you're going to experience feminine things. And that's where I feel like that concept of masculine and feminine has been so, I was perverted. Yeah. It's been so co-opted. And I think it's okay. I have an activity. Okay. I have an activity to illustrate this. Okay. So I'm going to give you 2 groups of words. There's 2 words in each little group. You have to take one word from each group and pair them together as to which one actually goes together better. Okay. It'll make more sense when I say them. Okay. So hot and cold, sharp and blunt. Which 2 would you match with each other? Is hot more similar to sharp or blunt?
Cold is sharp.
Cold is sharp. And you say hot is blunt? That makes sense for you because you love the heat. Think about a flame. Is a flame more sharp or blunt in its presentation?
Okay, I need to admit something right now. I'm having a little like English as a second language moment.
This is good though. No, that's fine.
So I'm like, when I think of a blunt, I'm like, I don't know if I'm fully capturing the definition.
What about, okay, blunt, dull? Like think of a pencil when it's become unsharpened. Like when you need to sharpen the pencil again because it's gotten too rounded. Blunt is more like rounded, dull, flat.
I still associate that with heat.
That is so funny.
Because I'm thinking about a melting and more of like a like, and you're just like, duh.
Okay, well then that's it. Okay, all right. I'm gonna leave that as is. Cool. Okay, all good. Light and dark, spicy and sweet. Which ones would you put together?
I wanna associate light with sweet.
I knew you would. Okay. And you would put spicy with dark? Spice.
Well, it's like, that doesn't quite fit for me, but if I, default, that's the option that is left. So sure.
Okay. Wet and dry, loud and quiet.
I think wet is loud. Am I saying the opposite of everything that you want me to say?
No. Okay. No, but this is actually going to feed my point really well.
Okay.
All right, so those are kind of more like sensory experience words.
Yes.
Okay. Let's move into more conceptual.
Okay.
Speak and listen, dominant and submissive.
Speak, dominant, listen, submissive.
Okay. Logic and intuition, specific and ambiguous.
Ambiguous, intuition, and
logic and specific. Approach and retreat, give and take.
Retreat is give. And
approach is to take.
Approach is to take.
Okay. Order and chaos, good and evil.
Order is good, chaos is evil.
Okay. This is really interesting, and I think this is a really good example. So, the last 2 are masculine and feminine, penetrates, receives.
The masculine penetrates and the feminine receives.
Mm-hmm. So using that, masculine penetrates, feminine receives. Let's go back to hot and cold and sharp and blunt. Which ones penetrate?
Sharp.
Sharp penetrates. And hot versus cold, I know for you may be a little different. But think about
But hot is like
hot is going to penetrate and
Yes.
turn something that is cold into warm, whereas
Yes.
cold is going to more so envelop the heat,
Yeah.
right? And receive it in. Okay.
I see that. Okay.
Light and dark. Which one penetrates? Which one receives?
The light penetrates
The dark.
and the dark receives.
Yes. Loud and quiet.
The loud penetrates.
The quiet receives.
Yeah.
Quiet receives the thing. And then speak and listen. Speak penetrates. Listening is receiving. Logic and intuition, specific and ambiguous. Logic will typically penetrate.
Yeah.
You're going to insert a thought. Intuition is receiving.
Allowing it.
Mm-hmm. Specific is going to like something specific. Mm-hmm. Order and chaos is a really interesting one.
Yeah.
I'm curious your thought on which one you would align with, penetrating versus receiving.
Well, putting it in this context, it would make more sense that maybe the chaos is that penetration, the like disruption of the order. But also I could see order being as like this structure that comes to tell you what to do.
Then we start walking this weird line, right?
Yeah.
Same with good and evil.
Right.
So, right? Because it's like, is the good going to come and purify the evil? Is it going to force itself upon the evil? Or is the evil going to come over and, destroy the good?
Yeah.
So let's leave good and evil and chaos and order to the side.
Okay.
Let's go back and put all of them into categories together.
Okay.
So penetrating, hot, sharp, light, loud, logic. Those are masculine. And we're not talking about dick or vagina. Dick or vagina fit into these categories. Masculine and feminine are bigger than dick and vagina. Right. They just fit. Whereas receiving is cold, dark, quiet, intuition, ambiguous.
Yeah.
So when we have these two ends of the spectrum, we have the penetrating and we have the receiving. And we have all of these receiving things being cold, dark, intuitive, submissive, ambiguous. With all of those categorizations, take those two lists of words. Which would you categorize as good and evil? Just like without like your thoughts of those, but like just with dark, cold, wet, heavy, intuitive, ambiguous versus order, hot, sharp, light, bright, speaking.
Right. All that light, I would be like, that's the
That's
goodness.
the goodness.
That's the goodness there, and the darkness is the evil.
Do we see now how our society has been conditioned to believe that women are dangerous?
Yikes.
That women and femininity and receiving and intuition is to be feared, it's the unknown.
Yeah.
That is, I feel like, the core of so much disruption and corruption. And we have been taught that like these principles, and let's get into colors, black and white. Hello, white supremacy. Because these are the things, light, bright, sharp, these kind of ideals of structure and like movement and like all of these things. That's what it means to be a man. But in the first bit, you were doing the thing like, you're like, hot is blunt and cold is sharp. Like the cold is sharp to me. There's so many things about our physical experience and like also as people, as women, we're not gonna just like, oh yeah, I'm a woman, so I'm gonna always associate with cold and dark and quiet and intuition. No, I would say you as a person embody a lot more masculine traits just because you are expressive and you go out and you initiate and start things.
Yeah.
Whereas I as a person, I like to let things come to me. I like to observe and then like take that in and analyze it. And that has nothing to do with what we have biologically on our
Right.
bodies. It's who we are as people.
Yeah.
But we've come to, since penis fits with penetration, vagina fits with receiving, then you take on all of these other things that societally we've decided all go together. And I feel like we've lost so much richness of expression as humans through that. So much.
Richness seems like such a salient word here.
Yes.
Because when we think about it, it's if we're only allowing ourselves to be at either side of the spectrum or either side of the coin, if we want to look at it that way as well, we're only allowing ourselves to embody not even half of the experience, but like a very limited, tiny part of the experience of being a human.
Yes.
And how, again, expansive it can be. Like, I can be intuitive and I can be logic.
Yes.
I can speak and I can listen.
Exactly.
I can be submissive and I can be dominant.
And you can fall somewhere in between those two.
Yes.
Like, even just think about like light and dark. Like, it's not always, your two options in life are not bright day and dark of night. There is a sunrise and there is a sunset, and the amount of light that's available changes throughout the day. So why do we think that we know better than nature? Like, nature is telling us there is a spectrum to things. Every single day we experience it. But like you said, our little monkey brains want to categorize things. There's safety in categorization and pattern recognition. And I feel like we have to hold space for that as humans. Like, we're going to want to do these things. But nature doesn't do that. And we're part of nature.
Right.
It's all part of a cycle, all part of a spectrum.
Yeah.
And I feel like, especially as women, as people who experience the world through the lens of being a woman, it can feel like we're really limited sometimes. Either we're really limited to those expectations of femininity, or we're expected to hold all of it.
Yes.
All of it, all at once. And I feel like a lot of men are really faulted when they express things that are feminine. And by feminine, again, we're talking about the spectrum. I'm not talking about being a female. Like, things like intuition, emotion, like receiving, listening. These are things that we're always like begging of men. We're like, please do more of this.
Yeah.
But even I'm thinking about approach and retreat. Approach would be to penetrate, to enter someone's space. Right. Retreat would be more feminine, to receive, to take your own space and hold it. And I think about how many times we think of like men leaving a situation rather than approaching a situation. Yeah. And to me, that speaks to the wounded feminine side of them, where it's like they feel like they have to go and go and go, and then it's like, when I actually have to be vulnerable, that's not safe. Right. So then they actually express the feminine by retreating. But it's like, it's the kind of, instead of receiving a feedback, it's like, I'm going to bye. I cannot approach this. I cannot, because you're overusing that side of yourself. Yes. So like, then when you need to use that feminine side, you're so overwhelmed that you can't use it in a way that's going to be constructive. So it's like,
even how we have been conditioned to experience emotions and express emotions based on either our gender or the genitals that we have in between our legs, which is the most arbitrary thing ever. The amount of times that I've heard my therapy clients, like my male therapy clients, share about some experience, especially the ones coming from Hispanic and Latin American cultures, of their father or another male figure in their life telling them to stop crying because that's for girls.
Yeah. Oh.
So then what's the response? To get angry, because that's the most quote unquote socially acceptable way to show emotion if you're socialized as a man.
Yes. Yes.
And again, if we all allowed ourselves to cry and be angry.
Cry and be angry. Like those, I always cry when I'm angry.
Right.
That's when it comes out. My body's like, let's get it out. Get it out of the system. It's either that or I'm punching a pillow, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's all valid.
it
Yeah.
is.
But then we got people that instead of crying, they're like out punching walls.
Mm-hmm. Or they're out passing legislation that ain't making sense. So like, let me actually exert control over you in this way. Because I think a lot of times people associate control with safety. I think people associate like order and control and structure with safety.
Yeah.
And it can be found there, but it's not the only place that safety can be found. There is
Yeah.
safety in the ability to express freely. You're only going to express freely if you feel safe to do so.
Right. I'm even thinking of like the stereotype that like women are so emotional. Like they can't be in like big leadership roles. They're so emotional,
That
so
is.
chaotic. And it's like, yeah, but okay,
Mm-hmm.
that is A, not like that.
Mm-hmm.
B, our emotionality is a superpower.
Hell yeah.
Helps us connect.
Hell yeah.
And the idea that we do need a little chaos to break through the systems that are controlling us and keeping us small and keeping us tight to these sides of the spectrum. So we do need some of this chaotic feminine energy to
Yes.
break and reconstruct and bring new life.
Yes, exactly. I'm even thinking of like on the spectrum of everything, like growing and rotting, being on different ends of the spectrum, because growing is like like coming out of the earth, stretching towards the sun, taking up space, and then having to rot and bring it all back down into nothingness so that you can start the cycle again. Like both of those are necessary to life.
Yes.
Necessary. You can't always bloom. I know we're going to talk about this at some point, but it's like I feel like with all of the masculine traits that are so glorified, we lose so much richness of like that rotting, of that the chaos of think about something that's rotting. Like think about all of the gunk and the smell and the bugs that come. Like there's all of that to me that looks like chaos.
Yeah.
But it's a process. It's making space so that something new can generate.
Yes.
Like you need, in fact, for things to grow, you need shit. You need manure, you need fertilizer, you need things that have been rotted because the nutrients, the gunk that is in that rotting phase is so dense. It's so packed with the nutrients that you need to grow. And I feel like that's such a good metaphor for like that's what the human experience is. You need the gunk of the rot. You need to break down. You need to let yourself get to that place where you're sorting through like the flies and the shit and the like the death of it all. Like what needs to die to make space for new life?
I have some things in mind. I know.
Lay it on me.
I mean, there's a lot of beliefs that need to die.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That are not supporting that fullness.
Absolutely.
And as you are talking, I'm thinking like how sad it is to be confined to one side of the spectrum and only one experience.
Yeah.
And also the fear, as you mentioned, that society experiences when the individuals start questioning that narrow space in one side of the spectrum, and when they're trying to grow and shift their identity and shift their understanding of themselves. Yes. Which is, when we think about a gender and people who were assigned one very narrow and specific way of expressing what's in between your legs.
Which I'm like, wait, what?
Which is so silly.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's like
we don't like what? So ridiculous. And then how people who have been going through a process of deconstructing their identity and wanting to shift out of that very narrow space in the spectrum, And then society's like, whoa, 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 whoa,
No,
what
no,
are you
no,
doing
no,
here? You're
no, no,
messing up
no.
my order.
Stick to the stuff you know. No, that whole song is literally this, like the stick to the status quo from High School Musical.
Literally. Are we dating
Like
ourselves right
because you have the who was it? You have like the stoner kid who like wants to play the violin.
Yes!
Okay, so you have a stoner kid. That whole culture is like, let's just sit back and be chill and relax and whatever. And then he wants to play. It was a cello.
Yes.
Play the cello, and the kid's like, "Do you got to wear a suit?" And he's like, "Coat and tie." And it's like going from being able to move from that like stoner laid back whatever into structure for the sake of expression. Like that experience of expression for him felt more genuine. And I feel like that song is such a great, I know it's supposed to be like funny and satirical and they're like, look at this crazy binary, but it's like that's what we're talking about. Like the jock who wants to bake, like who finds joy in baking, the nerd who wants to dance. Like we are such a, that's like the biggest part of being human that's beautiful. Like you get to express it and explore it however you want. And being limited by the concept, and that's why I think it's so important to look at like masculine and feminine as the overarching binary, like polarity structure, rather than it being like male and female, because the male and female is just a biological designation beneath that overall thing. We limit ourselves so much. We limit ourselves so much.
I know. And then how we penalize people who dare to express themselves outside of that narrow part of the spectrum, and how privilege and power stays if you kind of like accept your place in that side of the spectrum.
Ooh, say that again. Privilege and power
comes when you accept and take the place of the spectrum
that's being prescribed to you. It's a prescription.
It's a prescription. Totally.
And I didn't ask for it.
Yeah, which, oof, don't get me started. I think you just open a whole can of worms for me right now.
Dig into it.
Because thinking about like prescription and the medical model of mental health. Oof. Yes. And how even the way that we diagnose
I was just thinking
mental
about like
illness, which I even hate naming it a mental illness or a mental disorder, because
disorder
exactly
is a bad thing.
Like it's something
it's
bad,
evil, chaos,
when you're actually just responding to what's happening to you in probably a very normal and natural way. But then the DSM-5, the Diagnostic Statistic Manual. Exactly. Yuck. Yuck. If I could burn them. Speaking of fire, let's burn that shit. Bye. Yeah, and it's categorical. It's not, it doesn't acknowledge that there's a spectrum of everything.
Yes.
So it's yes and no. It's light or dark. It's good or bad. It's you're depressed or you're not.
Like, okay, but
is you're anxious or you're not. Things don't work like that.
No.
Like the amount of times that I have felt some depressive symptoms, but then I go and like, okay, nobody goes self-diagnose yourself. Like we're not here, but when you go to grad school for clinical mental health counseling and you learn about how to diagnose people, it's a very common experience that we're all kind of like diagnosing ourselves for for shits and giggles. And the amount of times that I just like do not fit the very narrow criteria that the DSM has for what a quote-unquote depressed person looks like. Even though I was pretty depressed at the time when I was like taking those inventories. But because the DSM doesn't research and define these categories based on the expansive nature of human experience, because then it wouldn't even be able to happen. Exactly. Then that doesn't include my experience.
Exactly.
Quick parentheses to mention that the DSM-5 diagnoses come from researching white, cisgender, straight males from a higher socioeconomic status.
I was literally where I was about to go next, because I was about to say, like, most of the research that exists out there that all of these diagnostic techniques and things are based on are research of men. Yeah. Men who have been socialized by the society as what they want a man to be.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's not even just thinking about like a diagnosis versus an experience. Like,
right.
Like the experience, like emotions are a chaotic experience.
Yeah.
And it's on a spectrum, like it's always going to be different. Like,
yeah.
Deep breath of like, whew, it's exhausting.
I know. And also the dangers of boxing ourselves in the definition of a very narrow experience.
Yes.
Because even if we tell ourselves, like, I'm depressed, you may be missing the 5 minutes of joy and excitement that you could have experienced that day because you're quote unquote depressed. Or like, and maybe you are depressed. You know, that's like real. That's like real. Maybe you are.
Depression's actually not real. Sorry to tell you all.
It is.
No, I know. That was sarcasm. I know. Surprise. Oh my gosh. No, but I know what you mean though, because there's like the expectations that come with the diagnoses
of what that looks like.
They're like, so then I can't even tell you how many people be like, you're not depressed. I'm like,
yeah, because you don't see me when I'm doing at home. Like, you know,
right.
Like, you don't know me. You don't know what's in like my brain. Like,
yeah, and because depression is a spectrum that looks very differently for every single person.
Yeah, just as is like joy or anxiety or
I know.
like anything that you experience, embodiment, like everybody's going to have a different both physical and emotional lived experience. Yeah. And if we categorize them into these narrow little boxes, I'm thinking about how we say like our human like evolution biological brains, like that feels like safety to us. But it's like we're at a point as a species where we're evolving past that. I feel like that's kind of the moment that we're in. Like we've been able to evolve past it for a while, but I feel like now we're really starting to see people lean in and be like, no, I think actually I don't want to live like that. I think I actually want to have a richer, truer experience. I want to grow out of like what safety looks like.
Yeah.
And who are the people that are leading that charge? People who are experiencing and leaning into emotion and chaos and intuition, which is why you often see women leading revolutions, even if we're not in the history books, even if they don't put our names, because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's dangerous to the structures that they've built to highlight all of the times that chaos and disorder and thoughtful, intuitive resistance work.
The way that the political landscape of the country that we live in, but also like it's been replicated, like it's a global,
it's everywhere.
It's a global pattern of being scared about trans and gender non-conforming people as if they're dangerous. Just quick parentheses,
please.
The amount of times that I have felt in danger because of a white straight cis man, or not even white, like a man, following just a man talking to me or following me or making me feel uncomfortable. I could not, countless times. I can't even keep track. You know how many times I've felt unsafe or in some sort of threat by a trans or gender non-conforming person?
Tell me.
0.
Literally.
0. Those are my folks. When I see them, like, I'm gonna go there.
Exactly. And I will say, as someone who came out of the cult of Christianity, evangelical specifically, the times when I have felt, quote, unsafe or uncomfortable around a trans or gender non-conforming person was because it was within me. It was a projection of my own insecurity in my own body. It had nothing to do with them. It was seeing that and being like, they are so confident and embodied and they know who they are. And I am not, and I do not, and I don't know what to do with that emotion. And that's what I feel like a lot of people experience. And that's the fear. That's the discomfort you're feeling, is your own disconnection from your body. Like, it's because the same, like, I've never been physically or emotionally under threat by a trans or gender nonconforming person ever. Men, countless.
Yeah.
Countless.
Yeah.
And this is not a men hating
No,
moment.
no.
No, but this is us trying to give examples on how these societal structures, how this perspective, how the co-opting of this polarity has created an environment that is not as safe as we think it is. It's not providing the structure or the safety for the global population that I will say perhaps was intended to.
Right.
You know, because people are, like you said, we're always going to try to create structures to keep us safe. And like I can hold space and like empathy for like that's where this came from. But we don't need it anymore.
No.
We don't need it.
No.
And women used to like rule the world. Like women used to be very highly in power.
I think men got scared.
Mm.
And not just men. I think structures got scared of the threat to their control. As I'm thinking about dominance and submission, like I think that's a misconception. This is kind of like a but I think that's a misconception people have about the concept of dom and sub, like dominant and submissive. Like they think that dominant is all about maintaining control, but it's not.
No.
It's not, especially like in kink culture and things like that. Like there's so much power in the submission. Yeah. There's so much power in the vulnerability and sharing the vulnerability. And in a good relationship between dominant and submissive, whether it's in kink or in like any position, especially like leadership or relationships, like having an agreement that they both support each other, and that there's mutual consent happening. I feel like that can be applied to any structure. We're talking about like a government structure, healthcare, your relationship with your doctor. Right. You know, like it should always be a relationship that's working together rather than one exerting control over the other.
Totally. You know, speaking of kink and sex things, I learned a really cool term that I think is like the definition of like the in between of what we're talking, and like which is a power bottom. And how a power bottom has both the taking and submissive aspect of it with so much control and assertiveness at the same time.
Yes.
And how also like, I mean, also like straight people can experience this, but I want to give a big shout out to like the queer community.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes.
For also providing the space of like exploration and demonstration that also sex can look in so many different ways, that it's not the binary that we're thinking, and that there's so much richness in the in-betweens.
So much richness in the in-betweens.
Yes.
I'm even thinking about like colors. Like if we have two ends of the spectrum, white being the absence of color and black being all of the colors, the spectrum of the colors in between, that's where we get colors. Right. Like you wouldn't have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, anything in there without like being willing to play outside of the ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
Which also, like thinking about queerness, that's a really beautiful symbol to hold, the rainbow. Like the spectrum in between the extremes.
Totally.
Because that's what queerness is. And I think that's why you so often see queer people and women on the front lines of revolution, or on the front lines of change, or leading the marches, doing the organization, being the resistance, even in the little ways, like showing up to the office with pink hair and like wild jewelry, or like, you know, it's like the willingness to exist outside the status quo. Like that's a huge form of like resistance.
Yes. Which I think also is part of why, I mean, everything that we're talking about is part of why biphobia is such a prevalent thing.
Yes.
And even something like, as I was coming out as bisexual, even I experienced a little bit of that, like, oh, then you're gay. And it's like, no. Wait. I mean, yes, I am gay, but also
yes,
like,
and also not.
Right.
Both.
Yeah, it's like, why did I have to go from like being one side of a spectrum straight to then have to go to the other side of the spectrum fully gay?
Gay, exactly.
It's like, no. Not that not liking, you know, like being like It's all good.
Yes, it's
all
all
I'm
good.
saying. It's like,
Yes, and same thing. Like, I came out when I was fully engaged to a straight man, and people were like, "Oh, okay, so but you're with a guy," and I'm like,
yeah, but that doesn't mean that this isn't a valid part of myself and an expression as a person.
I feel like so many people just like forgot it and like never even thought to put a second thought toward it. Or like when I bring it up,
right.
they're like, "Wait, you're queer?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "But you're with a man." I'm like,
And
"Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm a stereotypical bisexual woman. I don't know what to tell you. I came into this late."
yeah,
But it's like all of it's valid.
it is all valid. And even just the giving ourselves a permission also to like remind ourselves that it's not like then you have to be in the center of the spectrum. You can be wherever the heck you want, and you can change, and you can like take 2 steps that way and be like, oh no, let me like come back a little here. Even the same that like with like clothes, you're allowed to like dress like really feminine, and then the next day dress really masculine, and then find somewhere in the middle that like suits to you, and then go back and forth however you want, wherever you want. And even with like, again, like queerness and bisexuality, and like maybe your bisexuality looks like somewhere that on a spectrum may look like you're a little more closer to like the straight experience. And maybe at a different point of your life, you're like a little closer to like the lesbian experience or the gay, so it's giving yourself permission to also explore and embody those middle grounds.
Yeah. And I mean, even speaking to the point of evolution, like we started kind of talking about how we feel safer within categorization, but it's also like in order to evolve, you have to change. Like survival of the fittest isn't about, I feel like we hear survival of the fittest and it becomes this like, you have to be the fittest, like you have to be strong and fast. And it's like, well, maybe at one point that was survival of the fittest, but not for all species, not for everything in nature.
No.
For some things in nature, they had to grow quieter, they had to grow softer, they had to grow more intuitive, they had to, so like there's different ways to evolve and grow, and a huge part of that is adaptation and change.
Wait, so are you saying that all the like transphobic people that don't want to allow people to be who they are, they're gonna like disappear from the face of the earth?
Yeah, pretty much. I hope so. No,
it's like natural selection.
Natural selection, maybe. No, but I mean, I heard a interesting metaphor for what it feels like to be an American right now. How it feels like there's a tsunami coming in, and there's all of these people on the beach just watching it coming and being like, it's just a wave. It's just a wave, and you have to make the choice to either get to higher ground or stay there and try to convince them. But at this point, if they believe it's a wave, they're going to believe it's a wave, and that wave is going to overtake them. So it was kind of encouraging people to prioritize, like, get yourself to higher ground and help the people who are in between, in that space, being like, is it just a wave? Like the people who are like hanging onto the edge of the cliff, trying to climb up, rather than the people who are still standing right down on the shore.
Yeah.
Because you're choosing your path that way. Everything's a choice.
Okay, now I'm getting a little philosophical. I'm curious, what does higher ground mean in that context?
Higher ground, in that specific metaphor, it's kind of this idea of if a tsunami is physically coming into land, to survive it, you have to go to a place where you're not going to be overtaken by the wave. So it's not necessarily like we have to elevate ourselves to a higher purpose, but it's more so like, how are you going to survive this? What steps can we physically actively take in order to survive whatever's coming our way and create a way for the people behind us to also continue building and surviving?
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I'm just sitting with it because in my mind, I'm like, well, you also need a lot of privilege and power to get to higher ground.
Sometimes, yes.
In this mental definition of the context that I'm thinking, like, like in my head where it went is like, kind of like, oh, if you're rich, you're gonna like get yourself a bunker for the end of the world.
And you could do that quick. But like, say instead of, maybe you don't have the privilege to get a bunker real quick for the end of the world, but if you are embodied and you're paying attention and you're willing to like put in time and effort and work, maybe as soon as you start like noticing the warning bells, instead of like getting to higher ground, you can start spreading the word. You can start building a community. You can start having ideas and be like, hey, I mapped this route.
Yeah.
This is a way that we can go up into maybe you can't get a bunker, but maybe there's a walking trail through the Appalachians getting to somewhere that, you're not going to be able to survive it by yourself. But if they bring their water and they bring the generator and they, like maybe the resource that you have available to you is organization. Maybe it's connection. Maybe you know somebody who has a bunker.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, there is privilege and power involved in that. But I think sometimes too, it's like being embodied enough to know to, number one, notice what's happening around you and notice like what it's bringing up and whether that is true safety.
Yeah.
And then also being embodied and comfortable enough to start building resources slowly and like know how to alchemize what it is you already have.
I love that.
Yeah.
That makes me think also of the power of modeling expansive behaviors, the power of representation, the value of visibility. Because to your point, if you're like noticing all those warning signs that there's a tsunami coming, then also by being your authentic, embodied, empowered self, you can show to other people like, yeah, you can stay here and look at the wave until it comes and washes you off. But you can also try out this outfit that can help you survive in the mountains.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Just saying. Or even, I think that like speaks to, like you said, visibility, authenticity. If you are already somebody who people recognize stands in their authenticity, stands in your values, and then they're going to trust your word more.
Yeah.
You can build trust with other people by being more authentically yourself. Because then they're going to trust that what's coming out of your mouth, like they're like, I may not believe that, but she sure does. And that might be telling me something.
Right. But. And it's that modeling that when you're able to like sit in like the middle of the spectrum and be like, hey guys, it's okay. I'm actually like not drowning. It's not like there's just two islands that you can stand on. There's actually like solid ground that we can all construct together. And look at me like not sinking. I'm like actually like doing a little dance here because it feels pretty good to be here. Like why don't you come and try your own spot in the spectrum? Doesn't have to be mine. There's space here if you want to come, but it doesn't have to be just this.
There's different ways.
But just even again being that like first person that is like, they're like, oh wait, it's not like just deep waters that you get lost in like society and you're not accepted anymore. You can actually find like community and love and acceptance in those in betweens. Let me try that out as well.
Exactly, because like somebody might have climbed up to a roof, but somebody else might have built a boat.
Yeah.
Somebody might have a raft. Someone might have a helicopter. Like there's all these different ways to change and grow and move and exist.
I just thought of another spectrum. Even when we think about like monogamy and polyamory, and how they can be on a opposite side of a spectrum, but also it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Doesn't have to be black and white. Maybe your monogamy is like a little monogamish, and you like allow yourself to like dip into other waters a little bit. And that reminds me of like, you know, some people have been building boats, and maybe you're like, ooh, let me see how it is like to go on a boat. But maybe you're like, boats are not for me.
Boats, I get seasick.
Yep.
It's not for me. I tried it though.
Exactly.
It's not for me. But how are you going to know? Unless you try.
How are you going to know? Exactly. How are you going to know? Little silly parentheses, but I have a rule with myself, and this applies to everything, literally everything, that I will try anything twice.
Anything twice?
Yes.
I like that. Tell me why.
Well, like, you always have to try things. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you, like, evolve and change as a human, which I think that's a pretty cool thing to do. Sometimes the first time you try something, you're not ready to take it in. Maybe it's not it. Maybe it's too new.
Maybe it's like a version of it that that's not for you, because that's the thing. Even if you try something once, is that the only iteration of that thing ever?
It's not.
No.
No. Yeah. So
I like the twice rule because
highly recommend. Yeah.
I'll try anything twice. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Because then that also returns power to yourself and returns power to you, because then you're not putting the power of that choice in that one single experience.
Totally. Yeah.
Right?
No. And like if I try it twice and I didn't like it, that's okay. Okay, but here comes the other part of the rule.
Okay.
That you that kind of like scoreboard of like how many times you tried it gets cleared every so many years.
Oh, that makes sense to me.
So maybe it's like, let's give yourself like 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. That scorecard clears.
Totally.
So, and that's something I do with like food, for example.
I was thinking about it.
It's like, I wasn't the biggest fan of mushrooms before, but then I tried them once, also then alone, try them again. Maybe more than twice, but like, you know, I've been trying, but like also allow myself, like maybe the Chessie that was like 15 years old didn't like mushrooms, but the 28-year-old Chessie does. Yeah. And, you know, so that's also something with like spicy food. I'm holding space in the possibilities of my life that maybe in some years I actually like spicy food. Yeah. Who knows?
And it might be, I think there's like room there too, again, like, maybe there's a certain type of spicy that you'll like, because there's different levels of spice, not just like levels in terms of heat, but like where it actually hits in your mouth. And like it
So I'm just thinking spicy things though.
Yeah. We're all thinking about spicy things in our mouth. We just say. But anyway, there may be but hey, if we're talking about spiciness too, though, like maybe a spicy activity, like when you're just starting out in your sexual life and experience, maybe it's like, oh boy, that's a lot for me. And then, you know what? I'm going to use anal as an example. Okay, no, because if you just start being like, yep, put it right on in, bye-bye. Nope, immediately done. Immediately done. Maybe not. Maybe it's great. That's great for you. But then maybe a few years later you come back and you're like, oh, there's little plugs I can use. There's different kinds of lube. There's all of these other ways to explore like that kind of experience. And then maybe we can build up, or maybe we don't.
Exactly.
There's room for it.
There's literally.
Bye! Welcome to Girls Gone Real, ladies and gentlemen.
There could be a room for it, for sure. How did we get here?
The polarity, the spectrum of everything, including anal.
Everything is the spectrum for real.
No, but just like allowing yourself the space to explore things over time, and like knowing that you don't have to go all in. I feel like that's something that get me out of here. What can I say? I've been blessed with powers of word association. I can make a pun and not even have to try.
I'm sorry. I need to compose myself.
Let me be really intentional with how I speak from here on out. Please hold.
If you're all just listening to this, why are you not watching it?
You need to be watching us throw ourselves all over this couch right now.
Wait, water break. Oh my goodness. All in, yes. Continue.
All in. What was I saying? Oh, that's what I was saying. Okay. It's actually pivot. But I think concepts of like queerness and feminism for some people who are coming from a background where that is a completely foreign concept, saying yes to all of that right off the bat can feel really scary because it's so much. But maybe just starting with like, all right, let me just hear something out. Let me just like listen to a 2-minute video. Let me like listen in this conversation with my daughter or niece or friend, instead of saying, let me ask a question. Let me be a little vulnerable. Yeah. Sorry, I went back to anal with that. But it's okay. It's a great, fantastic example of exactly what we're talking about, because
it is.
You have to be willing to be vulnerable. And I think that's something that's, going back to polarity, going back to hard and soft, I just said soft twice, hard and soft, light and dark, all of those things. Vulnerability is on that side of the spectrum that is often aligned with weakness versus strength. It's soft, vulnerable, gentle. And that makes it hard to access sometimes, because
totally
when you're taught that it's weakness, nobody wants to be seen as weak.
Right.
I think I could go into the weak versus strong, because I have feelings and thoughts about that by itself. But
tell us.
The opposite of strength being weakness is really interesting to me. Mm-hmm. I feel like in terms of a physical description, there are those who you need a certain strength in order to lift a certain amount of pounds. And if you can't do that, perhaps you are weaker than the strong person physically. But then I feel like that gets turned into a concept that's applied to emotion, oh, wow, you're so strong, if they're not crying, if they're composed.
Yeah.
And then if you're crying or emotional or expressive, oof, they need to build some resilience. And there's a shame, and there's definitely a layer of shame that's applied to that.
Yeah.
When maybe we just could hold space for the spectrum of everything and be like, you know what? Some people are not physically able in this moment to lift the same amount as somebody else. Someone may not be emotionally able to hold that, like we talked about, or I don't know if we're doing this in whatever order, but kind of the window of tolerance.
Yes.
If someone's window of tolerance may be wider or smaller than someone else. And I feel like we need to hold more space for that, rather than shaming people for where they're at on the journey.
Yes.
And that's the hardest bit, is shaming people for where they are on their personal journey. Girl, why? You know why? It's to make yourself feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
And so uno reverso on that one, baby girl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it makes me think also how even our own positionality on whatever part of a spectrum we're on is also going to be impacted by stress. Ooh. And by how activated and how safe or unsafe we feel, and how in context, either a cultural or societal familial context, where you don't feel safe, you don't feel fully supported either by yourself or the people around you, you seek safety by staying in the opposites of the spectrum, because that's what it's expected of you. That is where you seek more power and acceptance and belonging.
Acceptance and belonging, yes. And it brings me back to that Status Quo song from High School Musical. There is safety and belonging.
Yeah.
And it feels like when we put ourselves at a different place in the spectrum, we're not sure where we quote belong. And then it comes back to self-validation and self-love, and being that's where you have to start. You have to start with that self-validation of I can belong wherever I am, as long as I am who I am.
Right.
But that's really hard, especially in a world where, bringing it back to capitalism and the patriarchy, we've been taught that, it is expected that you act this way, and if you don't, we will ostracize you.
Right.
We will burn you at the stake.
Yeah.
We will hang you.
Yeah.
We will literally kill you if you are different than what we expect you to be. And so that's really important, I feel to acknowledge as well, is we do live in a world where living on the margins, living outside of the ends of the spectrum, comes with violent consequences for a lot of people. And that's why I feel choosing to exist that way, and choosing I'm just thinking about queerness, just choosing to exist along that spectrum is such a powerful act of revolution and evolution.
Yes.
Like, ooh, I'm even just thinking about how revolution is just evolution with the R in front of it. Like, it's just doing it again and again. Yeah. It's just choosing evolution over and over and over again.
Totally.
Re-evolution. Yeah, that's what revolution is. Re-evolution. It's like evolve. It's choosing to evolve again.
Yeah, that is so cool. Yeah. And I mean, I don't have the statistics or anything right now, but like, I think I've been seeing and hearing about trends. Like, younger people are becoming more and more queer.
Yeah.
Like, we're evolving as a human species to understand that queerness is a natural part of us, which is also so, like, again, so dependent on the historical and cultural context of the moment, because there's also been times in humanity where like queerness and gender expansiveness were not as persecuted as they are now.
Exactly. That even makes me think about like the generations, how like there's Gen Z is like, they're out there, they're doing the thing, they're being weird and crazy and wacky, and they're also so concerned about their self-image. It's like this really interesting binary between like dichotomy between these two experiences. And then also I'm thinking about the millennial experience. How have you heard that phrase, millennial cringe? Yeah, like millennials, people who, I'm like at the very, very end of the millennial generation. How do you identify?
I'm a zillennial.
You're the zillennial. Okay, cool. You're who I wish I was. No, but like that, like the millennial, we are the ones who like we followed the instructions. We followed the instructions, and guess what? They didn't work.
Yeah, where did I leave you?
It doesn't work anymore. And now kind of coming back into reclaiming the things that we enjoy and being like, people are persecuting us, being like, oh, you're so cringe. Oh, look at your mom jeans. Those are high-waisted. Cringe. And I'm like, yeah, they are. They're comfy as hell. And one day you'll know. But you know what? You can do whatever you want for right now. And just like having that space to like let yourself be cringe. To be cringe is to be free.
Yes.
Like, live on the margin. It's more fun out here.
It's so much more fun.
Why do I want to just do the thing that you told me to do? Please.
So much more fun up here.
It is. So I have hope for like this Gen Z population, like Gen Alpha. They seem a little crazy. But like in a good way, where it's like I feel the rebellion. I feel the rebellion growing to like, I want to do it different.
Yes. And also, again, it's a little dependent on gender. Because I've been hearing also how like Gen Z women are the most liberal and progressive and groundbreaking that we've seen when it comes to a generational group compared to that age. Like even when like millennials were that age or boomers were that age.
For sure. That
like the percentage is so much bigger.
Yeah.
But then we got the younger part of the Gen Z generation, especially the younger men, are going more towards the more conservative end of the spectrum.
I have heard that as well.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to, what is it called? Like societal conditioning and the gosh darn motherfucking algorithms. Like, I need you to hear me when I say that the algorithms are designed to keep men in the category, like to keep men in that binary specifically. I feel like they've almost given up on women in a way where it's like, well, they're just gonna make their algorithm whatever the hell they want, and they try. I do be seeing some like interesting like beauty things promoted to me, some interesting questionable diet and lifestyle and movement and very eating disorder coded things marketed towards me that Austin never sees. We're always talking about the differences in the ads we see, the videos we see, our algorithms.
Interesting.
But I feel like there's this kind of concept with the algorithm and with society as a whole, like we still have a hold on the men. We still have a hold on the men.
Yeah.
And we're going to make that as vice-like and tight as possible. which really makes me sad. Like, I feel like, oh, my chest just like got so heavy.
Yeah.
Because like being,
it's a shame.
it is a shame. And I empathize so deeply with these men who are like so hell-bent against feminism. And they're like, why are you hating us? Like, why do you hate us? Because they're not only being, I don't want to say hated by women, but we're starting to express like our frustrations and desires and anger and like emotional experience. And we're like, we don't hate you. We're just telling you what our lived experience is like. Because men are hated by society. Like, society hates women, but society hates men.
Yeah.
They hate the idea that a man could be receptive, or it's all about control. It comes down to capitalism and control.
I know.
And a man who wants something, who wants control, is easy to control. Someone who wants control is easy to control.
Say that louder.
Someone who wants control is easy to control.
Yes.
Yes. Separating yourself from the need for control is the biggest act of rebellion and self-grounding and embodiment that you can do.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Totally. And as you're talking, and again, going back to like how society is also failing men.
Yeah.
With women and girls, slowly but surely, we've been getting more messaging of like, you can also be a doctor. You can also be...
You can be a part of the cog of the machine.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say...
I know, I'm just like thinking like...
be president, unless you live in the US, because nobody here seems to want to elect a woman as president. But...
so bad.
I know.
We didn't have a show.
But the thing is that, like, for women and girls, as bad as it is, we do get the benefit that we are being told you can also do these things.
Yes.
With boys and men, society's telling them you cannot do these things.
Yes.
But we're not also giving them the permission to try all these other things. Yes. It's like, you can't be toxic. You can't be violent. You can't be misogynistic. Of course, yeah. Please don't be those things. Yeah, please don't do any of those things.
But we're not saying, and you can be emotional. You can be expressive. We're not saying any of that to them.
Exactly. And like, I mean, there are people saying that to their boys. I think we're speaking more to the overall. But exactly. Kind of like as a generalization. Again, women are trying, like, we're giving a lot more leeway to girls, not so much to boys.
Yeah. 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 So I think it's really important for us to, not make excuses.
No excuses
like, not
for you.
hold people accountable, but like use whatever privilege you have available to you as a superpower that you're using mindfully.
Yes.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Give me a little squeak.
Another aspect of the conversation of spectrums that I'm thinking, also just for example with like therapy talk being a thing that is a lot more mainstream, and how a lot of people have a lot more access to information and language around mental health, and how now everybody seems to be wanting to self-diagnose with ADHD or OCD or autism or something, which I want to, hold space and compassion for the human need to want to make sense of their experience and how validating it can be to have a label to express your identity and your experience, and to maybe create community based on that label. So I want to acknowledge that, and the dangers that come with, I feel like in a way we're doing it almost like as a protest of the system and being like, so many of us are neurodivergent, we're doing it with the tools of the oppressor. Wanting to use the DSM to be like, yes, I have ADHD diagnosed, rather than seeing it in the spectrum of the experience, and going back to how very often stress is also going to have an important mediator of that, of where in the spectrum you lie.
Yeah.
So, for example, I know that I do not have diagnosed OCD, but in the spectrum of experiences, maybe if we have like 0% OCD and 100% OCD, I'm not close to the 0%, as maybe other people could be. That doesn't mean that I have a diagnosed mental disorder, but that also doesn't mean that I don't experience parts of those maybe like more obsessive or compulsive parts of the human mind.
Absolutely.
And I see that when I'm in more like stressed out times in my life, those traits are gonna get, they're gonna get higher. They're gonna show up a lot more.
Yes.
Rather than within a time that I'm experiencing more health.
Yes.
And well-being.
Yes.
And I think, again, that can also be like, for people, the like black and white can give a sense of like just soothing of like, I know what this is. That also leads into a slippery slope of keeping yourself there rather than practicing the mental flexibility of like where in the spectrum I am. What do I bring to the table? And what do I need to accommodate myself based on where I am?
Exactly. And I think that's a great point, is that finding where you are on the spectrum of things can tune you in to what you need to accommodate that space, to hold space for that. Because yes, I agree that there's like a level of validation and a little bit of relief if you have a diagnosis. And I'm going to say this knowing that this is not the fullness of everything, but sometimes a diagnosis can feel like a good way out, or a good something to blame something on. And as someone who experiences different mental health levels in the ADHD, in the OCD, in the maybe autism, I don't know, my sensory experience, sometimes I'm like, whoa, has exploring those labels brought me any sense of peace? In a moment, yeah. Do I feel more self-validated by the idea of a diagnosis? To a point. But where the true validation and the true fullness and connection with myself comes from is noticing my patterns, noticing what's coming up in my body, becoming more embodied, and being able to create an experience that feels good for me.
Yes.
And that didn't come from somebody saying, you have autism.
Right.
That came from me saying, hey, I have a lot of sensory needs and sensitivities. Let me create a life. Let me create a wardrobe. Let me create a food menu that feels good, but is still giving me what I need.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Because I feel like that idea of the label is like a side of the spectrum. And then no label is the other side of the spectrum. So, like, where do you need to explore and fall in order to feel supported and authentic and alive?
Yes.
Yeah. All that to say, you deserve to feel supported and authentic and alive.
Yes.
And you're not going to find that in boy or girl, or black or white.
No.
Or mask or femme, even.
Yeah. And validating the experience that stepping out of those sides of the spectrum is going to probably come with some cognitive dissonance.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that experience where your brain is like, wait, I have two opposing pieces of information and they don't compute, they don't make sense.
What am I going to do?
They're feeling uncomfortable. I don't know where to put them.
Help.
So let me just think this. Or let me put them into this box.
Yeah.
Because it's too uncomfortable to hold both at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I hope for a world where we all allow ourselves the opportunity to work through that cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
And find a more authentic and expansive version of who we are right here, right now, which is something I like to remind my people in, like, my students in yoga classes. And I'm like, your pigeon pose may look different today than it looked yesterday, than it will look tomorrow.
Yeah.
you know, same like your queerness, your gender expression, everything about you, it's also going to be shifting. Your mental health, like everything's going to be shifting from one side of a spectrum to other. It's our job to meet ourselves right there where we are.
Right now. Agreed. It's beautiful. This has been lovely.
I know.
I'm glad we were able to talk about this because it's always floating around in my brain, and I get so mad. I just get so mad when I see things that are just like, oh, you're so limiting. Like not just self-limiting, but like it can be really frustrating when you have like all of these structures that are trying to impose expectations. But I think even in that frustration, even in that moment, knowing that I can come back to me.
Yes.
And I can choose how to show up. And I think we're going to talk at a later date about shame.
Yes.
In way more depth. I think that's a huge part of this conversation that we believe deserves its own conversation.
Yep.
But kind of being able to come back to yourself and make space for that fear and shame, but still choose you. Was that your knee?
That's my ankle.
Oh my land. But being able to choose to make space for the fear and the shame, and also the self-expression that feels most real to you.
Yes.
They are all going to exist together. They can all be friends.
Yes. Is there any sort of thought activity, anything in your life where you're actively like working on moving from one side of a spectrum to more of a central part of it?
I think wait, this is so funny that this is what just came up. Schedules and timing.
Ooh, that's where my mind is at. Yeah, tell me more. Tell me more.
Just kind of in my head, time is wacky for me in my head.
Yeah,
it's hard for me to track time. I'm often late, and it stresses me out when I'm late. And I recognize too that other people that I collaborate with or live with or experience life with, time works differently for them in their minds. You're smiling because this happened yesterday. But you are not the first or only person that this happens with, because even like on the other day, we were going to drive up and someone else was on a completely different timetable, and someone told me a time and I was like, time got done. And then when that time came and passed and there was more time to be spent, I was like, and I had to just be like, you know what? Time just exists. We're just existing. We're going to get there. We're going to do the thing. The time on the clock actually doesn't matter. That's an expectation. That was a structure that was set by someone who wasn't even me. I didn't even set that timing. Most of the appointments that you have, unless like you're actually making it yourself, like you're not setting those times. Those are just the available or the told expectations. I'm like, you know what? Things are going to happen when they happen.
Yes.
Things are going to happen when they happen. But it's an active practice to just accept. How about you?
Totally. I have two in my mind. I'll like jump into the like time and scheduling thing, because I'm trying to remind my brain that it's not like I either do all work or all fun. And I feel like I've been balancing well, like my work and fun time. But as we enter a time where a season may be shifting and we may have to put some more time into work things to work on an exciting secret projects. Not so secret if you want to ask us, but trying to remind myself like, okay, that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna have any time for fun.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I feel that. And so how like hard.
Even in the season of hustle, I want to create time for balance, while knowing that a season is a season.
Yes.
But kind of like also a different spectrum that I'm like trying to work through is even when it comes to dating, and the idea that like it doesn't have to be super casual or super committed.
Yeah.
I don't know where that in between is for me right now. That's been that's been living rent free in my head. I'm like, I don't know where I want to be. I don't know what feels comfy, what feels supportive, what feels genuine and authentic. So I'll let you know if I figure it out.
And you know what? To your point from earlier, it's going to change.
It's going to change.
It's going to change. It's just about like paying attention to right now, like what's feeling authentic.
Yes. No, it's
Making
definitely going to
space for
change.
that.
I mean, I went from like being married in a monogamous relationship to then being like, oh, on the other spectrum of the casual fun. And now I'm like, okay, where
do I want to exist
where
next?
do I want to be?
What's the next adventure?
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to reframe things too, is like, what's the next adventure for me?
Oh.
What's the next chance I get to take? Like, what's the next opportunity I get to explore?
What's the next spectrum I'm about to
like decompose into, or to like run, like slide all along. Like I was talking earlier about like what colors look best on me. Like I'm playing with that. Like where on the color spectrum, like do I like / also like looks best on me? Like
yes.
And that may change too as my hair color changes, as as my energy levels change.
Yeah.
So like leaving space for that, I feel like is so important.
Mm.
But you're not static.
No.
Humans are not static. Nature is not static.
Mm-mm.
It's all about change and growth.
Yes.
So
It's been a lovely conversation.
Yes! I was so excited about this one. I've been thinking about it for years. Well, this with you and me months, but like in general, this topic,
totally.
I'm like,
it's so rich. Yeah. And I'm always curious if like people listening to this also have thoughts and ideas and like what spectrum are you working on, like deconstructing for yourself?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or where do you see the spectrum in nature or in your life? Like where do you see polarity showing up and like getting to play with all these things?
All good. Good stuff.
Things. All right, well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We will definitely be back.
Yes.
But for now, stay real.
Stay real.
Bye.